Phasmophobia has more hidden details than you might think. Small things like a map changing to a new country, to much bigger things like how ghost mechanics actually work in the game. Here are 10 things in Phasmophobia that you didn't know. Well, you might actually know some of these, but it makes the video title less cool. Starting off, we have the ghost in spawning. The ghost will spawn whenever you load into the map, but will only begin moving around and interacting with objects once the front door is unlocked. This next thing is outside of the game. To no surprise, these ghosts all have real-life folklore. Something interesting about the Yurei is that it actually contains subcategories of ghosts. Two ghosts that fall into this category are actually the Onryo and the Goryo. So technically speaking, Onryos and Goryos are both considered a Yurei. Now, we know this game isn't really a story game, but what if I told you this game does have a small bit of lore? The Ring Girl ghost model is actually also known as Patient 07. She was confirmed to be a patient of the old Asylum map and was later transferred to Sunny Meadows. I'm sure you can tell that Sunny Meadows has evidence of torturing their patients. If you travel down the left wing, you'll come across the morgue. Inside the room, you'll notice one of the bodies is Patient 07, leading us to believe she was tortured to death at Sunny Meadows. Talk about some pretty dark stuff. On a much lighter note, what if I told you Bleasdale actually moved to a new country? In the old lobby in Phasmophobia, the map screen used to show an actual map of the US, indicating where each map was located. In this photo, you can see Bleasdale used to be located in Idaho. However, that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. On the reworked Bleasdale, you can find mail on the ground, indicating the map is now in Ontario, Canada. If you're new to this game, you might not have known that the Tier 2 equipment has been around longer than you think. Prior to the different tiers being added, the current Tier 2 items were all we had. It used to be pretty simple, but I do enjoy the new tiered items. Next, I want to go over map size and lights. I'm sure you're all familiar with only a certain amount of lights being able to be turned on before tripping the breaker. This might seem counterintuitive, but the limit for large maps is actually the smallest. The amount you can turn on for each map before tripping the breaker for small maps is 9, medium is 8, and large maps is 7. The good news is large maps have the slowest sanity drain. I do wish we could turn more lights on. Speaking of large maps, here's a fun tip for the Gold Apocalypse Challenge. There is one setting you can change to keep the 15x multiplier, and it's actually the hunt duration. You can set this to medium and still keep the 15x multiplier, and it makes the challenge just a little bit easier. The ghost speed is so fast it shouldn't make too much of a difference. Not to mention it makes it a little easier to survive. Let's talk about Firelights. They aren't just for visibility. If you played this game for a while, you probably know this, but lit firelights will reduce sanity drain while within 2 meters of them. The higher the tier, the more it will prevent sanity drain. Although the lights will be better, sometimes you might have one in the room for an optional objective, so you might as well use it. Speaking of mechanics, did you know the ghost has different phases it goes through? Full list of different states or phases are idle, roaming, which has a short and long roam, where shorts have a max of 3 meters and long has a max of 12 meters. Favorite room, where the ghost will stay in the ghost room, interaction phase, ghost event, hunt, ability, and dots. These all have different probabilities and have some level of randomness to them. Now this last one, most people don't actually know, but did you know that if you see ghost orbs, that it can still be a mimic? Just kidding. One of my favorite tips that is pretty well known, but newer players might not know, is that you can flip a light switch to test to see if the ghost is still hunting. This also applies to things like lamps, or even the TV with the remote. It's a great habit to get into for large maps, or even maps like Point Hope. As for large maps, it's nice to know when it's safe and to be aware of danger, and especially for Point Hope, as the amount of times I've sprinted up a set of stairs only to just walk into the ghost and die is pretty often. When it's late into the match and I know the ghost is probably going to hunt soon, I like to go up one floor, test the lights, and then continue. It's pretty hard to hear the ghost whenever it's a few floors above you. If you go up the stairs and it goes down the stairs, it's pretty easy to run into it and die. Just be careful, and when in doubt, spam the light switches. Let me know in the comments if any of these surprised you, or if there's other cool and obscure facts about Phasmophobia. And if you ended up knowing all 10 of these, well, I'm sorry for lying to you. Thanks for watching, Ghost Hunters, and good luck with your investigations.